Hi everyone, I'm Tanmaya. Welcome to my channel. Okay, so I made this channel ages ago when I was in engineering school, but I made it to upload more of dance videos and things like that. But I'm here with a new idea for a video. Okay, so I love to read and wouldn't call myself a big reader, but I read when I can. I used to read a lot when I was in school, but then things happened, 10th, 12th, exams, engineering. So never got the time to read. And then these days, right now I'm doing a master's. So these days I'm trying my best to get back into the reading habit. And yeah, I make an effort to read maybe a chapter a day, at least a paragraph a day, so that I can get back to my reading habit. And because I'm reading a lot of books now, I thought, why not make a book review and share what I felt about a book with all of you? So, when I thought about a book review, I thought I should start or I should make a video about Murakami's Norwegian Woods, and especially because it is one book that has a range, an entire spectrum of reviews, I might say. People have a widely different opinion and different opinions about the book. And for basic information, this was a 1987 novel by the Japanese author Haruki Murakami, and he became widely known after this book. And they say that almost all of Japan has read this book. So I thought, why not start a review with Norwegian Woods? So before I start about what I felt after reading the book, I would want to share a memory of the book because um, I bought this book when me and my best friend were shopping. And you know how, I don't know if it's just us or a lot of people out there, but stationery shops, bookshops, you can't ignore. So we ended up in a bookstore, and we wanted to buy a book because we both were flying home in a few weeks' time. So we thought, let's buy a book because we can read in the airport when we're waiting in our layovers and stuff like that. So she bought a book which was all about love, which is another beautiful book, as I've heard. And I bought this one because I've always terribly wanted to read it. And I thought, what better occasion? So I bought the book. And the fun story about this is I bought it because of my trip to India, but I forgot the book when I was flying to India. And so I did not read it during that trip. And again, I have this sudden urge to read a book. And so it's not like, oh, I have a book, I'm going to read it. It's not like that. I have a lot of books that I've not read, being very honest. But some books just happen to give that sudden urge of, oh my God, I need to read this now. I really need to read this. So this book was something like that. And the fact that I've been wanting to read it from a long time didn't help. So I did come back from my trip and I started reading it. That's the memory of the book. So now coming to what I felt after reading this book, my opinion on the book, I would say, okay, there's a huge, as I said, there's a huge spectrum of opinions for this work of Harukami, because some say it's straight out misogynistic, very weak plot, the characters are a little irritable and things like that. But some say it's very beautifully written. It's it is one of Harukami's best works. So they are a huge fan of that work, this book. But I think I come somewhere in between the two, and I wouldn't go with either extreme. It will be in the between because I just feel like, okay, Harukami's this book, I think it's just Harukami's way of writing is very simple. It's like a flow of life. It's that simple. It's like you are in Tokyo walking with the main character on his Sunday trips, or you are there when the national flag is hoisted. if you did read the book, you would know the reference. But it's that, you know, real. You feel it's the author's writing style is so real, so it feels very personal. But I would call this work a raw rendition to life, because I think if I use two words to describe the book, it's just raw, simple, and it's that is how I think it is beautiful. But story wise, I don't think it's beautiful. I wouldn't call it a raw beautiful rendition to life. I would just call it a raw rendition to life, because it, I felt like it was like a smudge of the color gray, because the topics that are touched on are mostly, you know, suicide, death of a loved one, alienation, the routine of life. So it deals with very complex emotions. So as a reader also, and because the writing is so real and the author's done such a good job in writing, uh, you feel like you those emotions deep down come out. Okay, so it makes you uncomfortable, but still makes you comfortable. So the storyline is that beautifully written, and I think it also touches on the routine of life. So you tend to think about how mundane and boring uh, we are leading our lives. So maybe, come on, you tend to think that, oh, it must be so boring because I wake up in the morning, I wake up, get freshen up, I go eat, go to work, finish work, come back home, eat and sleep and get back up again and go to work again. So like that, if you look at life, it is a very it is a routine. And somewhere when we notice how people around us tend to celebrate weekends, and I mean, most of us have that habit of doing fun things on the weekend. It's like, oh, I'm going to go trekking this weekend, or I'm just going to go traveling this weekend, or oh, I'm going to sleep in, I'm going to relax, I'm going to breathe and make good food, and you know, spend some time watching a movie or relaxing. Some I feel like that is somewhere us rebelling against the routine we have built for ourselves. And when you look at life like that, you do feel like, yes, Harukami's version of life and our version somehow matches. But I would still say life isn't that boring, because every day is a new experience. And I know we're just going to work every day morning, but I meet a lot of new people. I have different experiences. It could be a bad day, it could be a good day, but still a new experience in life. So I think life is beautiful, even if it's very routine. It's very, you know, the same cycle, the loop of the same things that we do. But yeah, I think Harukami has given it a little boring shade, the routine of life. And also, this is also why I have a very favorite quote from the book. It's not a quote, it's a line which says, I don't mind my spring on Sundays. So again, that's again the entire prospect of him explaining how life is just a mundane, boring routine, and that I kind of agree, kind of disagree. So, yes, let's leave it at that. But then, as a story, I think it's just that, you know, I was so invested in the book. Oh, what is going to happen? Oh, this the storyline is such a nice increasing curve. So you are you're growing the emotions with each uh, chapter. It just goes on increasing what you feel like. It brings out those emotions that are deep down, or you know, those emotions when you're sleeping at the middle of the night at 2 o'clock, you're looking up at the ceiling or looking at the stars, and the things that come in your head, those emotions come out raw and real. And somehow you're put in that, as I said, it makes you uncomfortable. You're in that uncomfortable position. You don't know if you should continue reading it, but it also makes you comfortable as the story goes along. And one thing I'd really want to mention here is that as the story goes along, and in the end, during the end, the last chapters, I don't know about y'all, about me, it's my opinion, and I was expecting something. You know, I'm not asking for a closure, but I'm expecting for some end, because it's the last chapter, you're closing the book. And I felt, even if it was just, okay, life going on, something, I would still take it. But somewhere at the end, I felt like, the author made me feel so many different emotions, brought out so many different things in me. And at the end, at the top of the cliff, we're standing together, he just looks back at me, mocks me for my emotions, and then just disappears. That's what I felt, and that somehow didn't sit right with me. And I think I tend to take the last emotion as an entire uh, opinion about a book, and maybe that did not help with my opinion of the book. But I was disappointed at the end. But you have, like, it could be any art form, like it could be a drama, it could be a series, it could be a movie, or it could be a book. So once you're done, I mean, when you're completely over, when the credits roll out, or when you're in the last chapter, you close the book, I tend to think, I tend to sit down. I need time to digest what happened. I need time to absorb the entire book. Those hundreds of pages that I spent hours reading, I tend to sit down and, really think it out. Like, what just happened? I just read this book, okay. So that 10 minutes with my own self was where I thought that not every day do you get a closure. Not every situation do you know how it ended. So even with our own situations in life in general, in our relationships in a daily life, we don't have an endpoint. It's not real to get a closure every time. But sometimes you just have to accept what happened and move on. And I think that's what I told myself at the end of the book. I accepted, okay, this was what it was, and I think I've moved on. And so that's exactly why I'm in the center of the book. I did enjoy it. I did enjoy reading it, because it's not easy to bring out those emotions in a reader, to really mess things up in your head and then still clear it. It's like you're walking in a forest in the middle of the night with fog all around you, and you're just like scared. You are nervous, you are shaking, and then suddenly all the fog clears out and you see the path ahead. And it's not easy to write that, and I think it's beautifully written for that one aspect. And so I'm in the center of both the extremes. And yeah, that is what I thought about Norwegian Woods, Haruki Murakami. And now, this was my opinion. Your opinion could be completely different, and I respect it. And that's how it is, right? Like, it could be a piece of art, it could be anything in that sector. You look at it, every person has his own imagination. So every book I read is my own universe, and your universe, my universe, doesn't have to be the same. So this was my opinion about the book. And if you have read the book, let me know if I forgot any detail, or if I left out any detail that could change my perspective of the story. Or if you love the book, let me know why you love the book in the comments. And for everyone who's not read it and have it in your checklist, I think you should go ahead and read it, and don't let my opinion uh, keep you from creating your own opinion about the book. So, but one tip from me would be, read it at your own risk. If you're ready to face those emotions inside of you, if you're ready to be strong and go head on with the emotions, only then read it. um, because I thought I should have told that to myself before I started reading. So yeah, that's the end of the book review. Let me know what you think about this video, and maybe if you liked it, we could do more. Subscribe to my channel, like the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.